What's going on, you all? This is Brother D here, coming back at you with another edition of the Brother D Show podcast. And on tonight's show, we will be talking from the subject, don't look back in the rear view mirror. Don't look back in the rear view mirror. There are many of us who can look back at the past and look back at what was years ago, and we could yearn or long for something to return. We could yearn for the quote-unquote good old days to come back, where people actually loved each other, when people actually cared about each other, when people seemed to have love in their heart, and all these different things that used to happen. But when we think about the summertime, we think about how our uncles and our aunts and our grandparents and our cousins would get together and have a nice time, have a nice barbecue in the backyard, and how it seemed like things were so much more easier back then. When I say back then, I mean like the early 2000s, the late 90s, or early 2000s, and even some of us back in the 70s, the 80s, or however long. We might yearn for the good old days to come back. A time where it was peaceful, a time where, for the most part, people, just like I said, had more love and they have more sense. And now as we look at our current world right now, we can see how the signs of the times are around us. We can see how families have been divided, and how certain people go against one another, and how certain people don't even talk like how they used to talk. We can see that we're living in a different day compared to when we were kids growing up. This is not the same day that it was in 2001. This is not the same day that it was in 2006. We're living in what I call the end times. And it's the truth. And it's not necessarily what I call it, but what it is in real life. It's the end times. The time where the hearts of men have waxed cold, and the love of many has waxed cold, and how certain people no longer love each other like how they once did. We are living in that time. We're living in a time where certain things are happening in certain parts of the U.S., where all of these horrible things are happening in New York, and we can see the smoke, and we can see how dangerous things are, and how it's even dangerous to breathe in certain toxins that are in the air. And we can see how troubling things are. But we cannot yearn for what was. We have to stay focused and believe that better days are ahead of us. It can be discouraging to watch the news and see all of the devastation and see all of the issues that are arising in politics with different political figures, and how certain things are being exposed, and just certain things are being brought forth to consume our attention. But we have to understand, and we have to know that we still have more life to live, and we cannot be discouraged and distracted by the media. We can't be discouraged or distracted by what we see on our cell phone. We have to believe that there's better ahead of us. A few weeks ago, I talked about I'm ascending to new heights, and we must keep it in mind that if we're going to move forward, we have to stay focused and we can't look back. Don't look back at the rearview mirror. Don't look back in that mirror yearning for yesteryear. We have to take what we have, take our gifts and our talents and move forward, regardless of what has happened, regardless of who has walked out of our life, regardless of who has cut us off, and vice versa. We still can't look backwards, because looking backwards, it does us no justice. It doesn't change anything that's currently happening. It doesn't change anything that's currently at stake. It doesn't change our current reality. So we have to always stay in a mindset, in a mind frame of what's the next step? How do I get myself and my family out of this situation? What can I do now? Because certain things with certain people are not going to change until you begin to move forward, and not just forward, but you begin to move up. You are ascending to new heights. So therefore, you have to keep your mind focused on how you're going to move forward. You have to keep your mind focused on how you are going to progress, how you are going to succeed, what steps are you going to take in order for your life to change. We all have dreams, we all have desires, and we all have goals, and we cannot be in a place where we're thrown off. We can't be in that place where we're sidetracked. We have to stay focused and realize that that better days are here. And we have to understand and know that once we get there, we have to remember who was there for us in our lowest times, who really wasn't present for us at all, but especially in our low moments. So let's move forward. Let's figure out, what do we have to do? What's ahead of us, and what steps we're going to take. Looking back in the rearview mirror is not going to give you anything that it is currently happening right now. All we got back there are memories, and that's it. Nothing current. Why? Because time is constantly changing. Time is constantly moving. Technology is constantly increasing. AI is on the rise, and all of these different things are happening that can be somewhat scary. So let's stay focused and let's move forward and figure out what we're going to do. How are we going to affect change? How are we going to be a solution? Keep your mind focused on that. And I'm telling you right now, once you keep your mind focused, you'll be moving forward a whole lot quicker, because you're not bombarded with the distractions. You're not bombarded with all of these different things. No, I'm not saying that the distractions won't come. I'm not saying that all these different things won't happen. But you have to understand that even though life might be throwing you a curveball, you have to have your bat ready and say, you know what? This curveball might have came, this setback might have came, but I'm going to push it. I'm going to knock it out the way, and I'm going to move forward. I hope that this show has inspired you and motivated you. Please continue to listen to the Brother D Show podcast. Please feel free to follow us on all social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you have any questions, please feel free to shoot us an email at info@brotherdshow.com. I'm sorry, info@brotherdsshowpodcast.com. Again, info@brotherdsshowpodcast.com. Feel free to send us a message and give us feedback about how this show has helped you. And until next time, see you soon. Have a good one.